Old golf ball eyes had himself a hell of a 48 hours when The Athletic dropped a profile piece on him last week, midweek. Then he debuted as the Jets head coach in their preseason opener a day later on Thursday. So obviously no coincidence. That was planned perfectly. Let me start with the profile piece in The Athletic. It unearthed some amazing gems about the 40-year-old who has some extremely peculiar, if not alarming, eating, sleeping, and working habits. Look, it's pretty common for football coaches to spend way too much time at the office obsessing over everything. Game planning, tape, every minute detail, every stone has to be turned over. I mean, this is not unusual. Coaches sleeping at the facility. But even by those standards, Adam Gase might be in a league of his own. In an industry where guys work way too many hours and do crazy things, this guy might be an outlier. The article spends some time on his days in Miami as the Dolphins head coach. And it says that Gase lived across the street from his then offense coordinator, Dow Loggins. Straight from the piece, quote, sometimes Loggins would be jostled awake after midnight by his wife, quote, Adam's at the door, she would say. Adam's at the door. Forget texting. Forget, picking up the phone and calling. Never mind emailing. Adam Gase would walk across the street from his house to his OC's place, post up at the front door, and wait to be let in after midnight. And apparently didn't really care who he was waking up in the process. And this happened more than once, apparently. Look, we all know the feeling of getting hit up from our boss outside of work hours. Yeah, well, go ahead and ratchet that feeling up about 1,000,000 times and imagine your boss showing up on your doorstep. Not only on your doorstep, but showing up on your doorstep after midnight wanting to do work. And not because his car broke down. His car didn't break down. He wasn't just robbed. His roof was not on fire. This guy showed up at your house in the middle of the night because he wants to do work. Look, I understand that moving is the biggest pain in the ass ever. Moving homes sucks. I've done it. Not that many times. And every time I've done it, it sucked. But how Dow Loggins did not put up a for sale sign in his yard, pack up, and move to a new hood the very second the Gase showed up at his doorstep, I have no idea. Kenny Stills told The Athletic that he had to tell Adam Gase to stop texting him after midnight because he kept waking him up. Mike Tannenbaum, who worked with him in Miami, said, quote, you would get these texts from him until 4 in the morning on a regular basis. So this dude's texting coworkers at 4 o'clock in the morning. He's showing up and banging on their front door in the middle of the night. But that's not all. It gets even more bizarre. The piece also says that Gase slugs down 5 to 6 20-ounce cups of coffee a day from a Keurig machine that he keeps at his desk. No wonder homeboy's eyes were bugging out of his head back in January. The simple math would suggest that's 100 to 120 ounces of Joe every single day. And he doesn't even bother getting up to fuel up. Instead, he just mainlines caffeine from his desk in an office that The Athletic says has no window. This way, he has no idea whether it's day or night. He doesn't know when day turns to night and when night turns to day. It's like he's in a casino in Vegas with no clocks and no windows. He doesn't know. And they're just pumping oxygen in there. Oh, and apparently, he ate nothing but pepperoni pizza every night. His head coach of the Dolphins.
Crazy Eyes. How you doing, pal? I got your pizza for you just the way you like it.
Yeah, Crazy Eyes. Here's your pepperoni. Just the way you like it, Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes. Why don't you mix in sausage once in a while?
Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes. How about one of those vegetarian cheeseless pizzas?
Crazy Eyes.
Crazy Eyes. You eat it every night. That's not some throwaway line either. Dude was coaching the Dolphins for 3 years. He ate pizza every night, apparently. You know that whole line about, hey, man, I could eat pizza every night. He did. He did. Not sleeping, showing up on doorsteps in the middle of the night, crushing pizza, shotgunning tanks of coffee is wild. I had this dude, it's one of my favorite stories. I knew a guy once, back in the day, 90s, who owned a business. And he had a bunch of sales reps in this business. And it was high pressure. I don't want to say it was a boiler room, but high pressure. And he was a young guy and like an athlete, really fit guy, motivated guy. But all of a sudden he showed up and he had like this lump, this giant golf ball sized lump, in fact, like in his throat, the side of his neck or something. And it came out of nowhere. And he goes to the doctor, and the doctor's asking him a bunch of questions, running him through a battery of tests. And he said, do you drink coffee? And he said, yeah, I drink coffee. He's like, how much? He goes, 2? 2? Like 2 cups? No, man, like 2 pots. He goes, you better stop doing that. Man, that lump might get smaller if you stop drinking 2 pots of coffee a day. Gase, it might not just be your eyes, dude. If this guy shows up with like a Hasim Rahman on his forehead or his neck, we'll know why. Anyway. Like the next anecdote, though, this is not unheard of, right? Coaches work hard, they work late, they eat like crap, and they smash coffee. This is not unheard of. However, this next anecdote is what cements the work-life imbalance, or at least my takeaway from the article. This came right out of the article, word for word. Quote, every Tuesday when he was in Denver, Gase met with Peyton Manning at 2 p.m., except this Tuesday when Jennifer was delivering their son Wyatt by cesarean section. Gase told his wife to schedule the operation for 10 a.m. So they pulled the baby out of me and said, it's a boy, Jennifer says. They didn't even put my organs back and sew me up before Adam was like, you good? I said, yeah, I'm good. He said, all right, then I'm out. They said, you want to cut the umbilical cord. Adam said, no, I'm good. At 2 p.m., Manning was stunned to find Gase waiting for him in the meeting room. Word for word, out of the piece. So dude didn't just make it to his weekly meeting. He beat the other guy there, and he left his wife, whose guts were still out on the operating room table, to haul ass back to the facility so he wouldn't miss the meeting. Look, I mean, that's grounds for divorce in most households. But apparently that's just par for the course in the Gase family residence. Imagine how hard this guy laughed when Broncos HR told him about paternity leave. He probably thought that was the funniest joke ever. The most surprising part of the entire article, though, is that Gase did not name his son Football. So again, that piece dropped last Wednesday. The entire world learned that Gase drinks 120 ounces of Joe every single day, doesn't sleep, left his wife and son minutes after a C-section, and then the Jets play the Giants in their first preseason game on Thursday. If you haven't seen Adam Gase since, a couple of Pro V1s exploded from his eye sockets back in January, you probably wouldn't recognize the guy. My man's got the full Matt Patricia look going with that Grizzly Adams beard. And I have to admit, Gase is like the only guy I've ever seen who actually looks younger with a beard. He looks like a decade younger. But Thursday was not about the beard reveal. Nope. Thursday was about the cameras that were on the Gase pregame at the absolute perfect time. Because right as the broadcast was doing an extended shot of Gase, he did an extended shot of smelling salts.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up!
Woo! Clear as day, my man puts the salts to his beak and takes a giant huff. And his giant eyes roll to the back of his head. He violently shakes his dome. He tosses the salts on the ground and then is grinning ear to ear. My man hit the ammonia inhalant. And he did it in week 1 of the preseason. What the hell is this guy going to do in 4 weeks when it counts? Hit himself with the paddles? Hook up jumper cables to his nips? Hey, big fella, pace yourself. You know, like Mike Vrabel volunteering to lop off his Johnson in July for a Super Bowl. Man, save some of that for when it counts. I'm not going to lie. I'm more intrigued by this guy now than ever before. The bugged out eyes, the vats and vats and vats of coffee, the no window in the office, the ditching of his wife at a C-section, the smelling salts for a pregame pick-me-up in week 1 of the preseason. Man, my man is working really, really hard for somebody who's got a 23-25 head coaching record. Imagine what that record would look like if he didn't do all that stuff. But then again, I guess when you've coached 2 teams in the Brady-Belichick division, you really can't afford to sleep. You can't afford to sleep or stick around to cut the cord on your newborn son. That's 2 seconds where you could have been game planning. Here's some unsolicited advice. Maybe mix in a visit to the doctor and make sure that ticker is doing what it should be doing, considering the diet of coffee, pizza, no sleep, and smelling salts. I mean, you got to wonder how close this guy was to trying meth when he found out that Tom Brady got that contract extension. Imagine what this guy's reaction was when he first heard that Brady was going to play till he was 45.
Crazy eyes.
Crazy eyes, here's your pie.
Crazy eyes.
Crazy eyes, here's your pie.
Like it.
Extra pepperoni. This tweet says, Jimos, screw the 20 cups of Keurig. Weak sauce. I can help Adam Gase stay awake. Sincerely, Chris Forster. If I'm not mistaken, he was his O-line coach there. I wonder if he ever just walked into Forster's office. I mean, coffee. That much coffee? Anyway. Music to my ears. Because that means we're done. Not because I don't want to work, but because I'm done looking at all this. Hey, honey, I know you got to get back to work. Is there a way that you maybe might scrape up that placenta off the floor? I don't know. Maybe just cut the cord. I mean, literally cut the cord. The umbilical cord. No, man, I can't cut the cord. I got to watch CBS Sports Network. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, the baby's cord. We've all done it. Now I'm done.